Can you construct a building out of garbage like this old brick and have it turn into gold? Well, that's what's happening at the University of British Columbia. No, we're not talking about alchemy, but about the campus's environmentally friendly green buildings. One of which, the Life Sciences Center, has won LEED Gold. Gold status in leadership in energy and environmental design recognizes an extraordinary achievement in green building practices. Green buildings are designed to save energy and to incorporate recycled materials. The building that launched UBC's move to green is the Choi Building, home to the Institute of Asian Research. Looking at this lovely building, you would never think it was built from garbage, and well, it isn't really. But that was the joke in 1996 when it opened, because 50% of the building's construction used reused, recycled, and recyclable materials. It's no joke now that the Choi is on the American Institute of Architects' top 10 list of buildings that have set green building benchmarks around the world. The Choi was designed to fit into the landscape rather than the other way around. It rose from a parking lot with the forest remaining at its back. The 5 scooped atria at the top of the building reflect Asian architecture, but also have a big role in energy savings. George will explain.
Cool, fresh air from the forest enters through the building's windows or through the trickle vents underneath and rises up towards the atria. The aerodynamic shape of the atria, with its ventilation slots, allow the air to exit naturally. The atria also house fans, which operate when the building needs to be cooled down quickly, so there is no need for artificial ventilation.
It does feel nice and fresh in here, and there's lots of natural light coming in from the windows, which also saves energy.
That's right, they use low-E glass, but they can't provide all the light. There's also electrical lights using high-efficiency bulbs. However, when there's enough natural light, the bulbs automatically dim.
Very high-tech. But one of the most unusual features of the Choi is the toilets, and not because they're space-age in design. Almost all the water used in office buildings is in the toilets. So, why not have a toilet that doesn't use water? Doesn't sound too pleasant, does it? Most of us have gone camping. But these composting toilets are different. For one thing, they don't even have an odor.
That's because the toilets are stacked in the same place on each floor and make use of a really long stainless steel tube that drops straight down to a tank in the basement. The waste collects in a pile, so it needs to be raked every few weeks. Some wood chips are thrown in to absorb moisture. Red wiggler worms break down the solid waste so that only a bucket of compost is created every 5 years. But 90% of what goes into a toilet is liquid, and this is where it gets really interesting. The liquid, called tea, is pumped up to a wetland trench at the front of the building. This ditch has a waterproof lining and is filled with gravel and a series of different plants that have purifying microbes on the roots. The water is purified to the same standard as bathing water before it flows around the back of the building to irrigate the forest.
We're going to go now to the Lou Center, which has made use of garbage in some innovative ways. The Lou Center for the Study of Global Issues sits in the footprint of the former Pan-Hellenic House, which was manually deconstructed over 6 weeks. Only 6% of the demolished materials were sent to landfill. Some material was recycled or sold to salvage dealers, while the rest was used in building the Lou Center. These ceiling beams are from the Pan-Hellenic House. The patio bricks are reclaimed from around campus. Does the rubber on these stairs look familiar? Perhaps because it came from car tires. But the most innovative use of waste materials in the Lou Center are in the floors and walls. They're made with high-volume fly ash concrete.
Fly ash is a byproduct from coal burning, which is normally sent to landfills. It was used here in place of cement in the concrete mix. Cement manufacturing, by the way, produces almost as much greenhouse gas emissions as cars in the Greater Vancouver Regional District. The concrete absorbs warmth during the day and releases it at night. This cuts down on needing to heat the building at night.
You may notice the warehouse look of the building. The cables are exposed and the ceilings are unfinished, which reduced capital and maintenance costs. However, the building looks modern and elegant due to the fact that it was designed by one of Canada's best-known architects, Arthur Erickson. You can see his influence in this cylindrical meeting room with its maple wood and high windows, which bring in natural light and create a sense of nature. Before we go to the Kaiser building, which has taken the use of sensors to the max, I just want to point out the Japanese katsura tree, which is a symbol of both sustainability and the preservation of the natural environment. Now this looks very high-tech.
This is the energy display for the Kaiser building, which houses the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering.
And let me guess, this building uses a lot less energy than regular buildings, right?
45% less, as a matter of fact. This is a naturally ventilated building, which is controlled by a weather station on the roof. In warm weather, for example, the atrium louvers open automatically. So fresh air is drawn from the front doors and the windows, and as it heats up, it rises through the building to the atrium and out. On its way, it passes through these vents at the bottom and top of the lab and office doors. Connecting these vents is an S-shaped duct with acoustic lining, which means the air can get out into the corridors, but sound transmission between corridor and offices and labs is reduced. There are 2 atria in the building. Besides providing natural light, they have photovoltaic panels mounted on top of them that block some sunlight, but more importantly, generate electricity from daylight. These panels are providing DC power for the building's emergency lighting system.
The heating and cooling system in this building's groundbreaking, isn't it?
Definitely. Plastic pipes filled with water are embedded in the concrete slab that make up the ceiling. The pipes heat and cool the slabs, which in turn heat and cool the building. There are only a few buildings in North America that use this kind of radiant heating and cooling system.
The Kaiser building is cooled in another unique way. The ceramic frit patterns glazed onto the windows act like sheer curtains and reflect 70% of incoming sunlight. The canopies at the top of the building also deflect light away. This building has a lot of innovative features, but what does it take to score a LEED Gold? Let's go to our next building on the tour, the Life Sciences Center, to find out. The Life Sciences building is huge. It's the largest post-secondary research facility in BC. It's home to the UBC Medical School and Anatomy teaching labs, along with the Center for Disease Modeling and the Center for Blood Research. We're in one of 2 atria in the building, which you can see supplies lots of natural light. In the offices, lighting controls are automatic, turning on as someone enters the room and turning off after a period of inactivity. The building was designed with the occupants' health and comfort foremost in mind. Building materials with high volatile organic compounds, such as adhesives, paints, carpets, and composite wood, were avoided to minimize the impact on air quality. The LSC lab facilities used sustainable and green principles at every stage to completion.
The labs are quite unique in that they have incorporated special ventilation features. The fume hoods have reduced flow rate technology, which means they use less energy when the sashes are down. When the fume hood window is up with no one in front of it, the waste alert alarm goes off to remind someone to bring the window down. Air from other areas of the building flows into the labs. This saves energy because outside air doesn't have to be heated or cooled instead.
A feature of the LSC is the 2 lecture theaters that together hold 700 students. These are equipped with state-of-the-art video conferencing equipment that allows for collaboration and teaching between different facilities, and cuts down the need for air travel. Well, and now we do have to talk about toilets again. The ones here are low-flow toilets, and there are waterless urinals. They do have to be cleaned, of course, but the facility has adopted a green housekeeping program that uses environmentally friendly cleaning products. And look here! Showers! There are 10 in the LSC to encourage cycling to the building.
Cycling may be the way to travel because there's something that's missing from the LSC. That's right, car parking space. A building this size usually provides 1,000 spaces, but there are 2 handicapped car stalls and drop-off locations for car and van pools and 130 bike parking spaces.
Outside, 93% of the planted area has native and adaptive plants, which need little or no watering. And we'll end our Garbage to Gold tour with a view of the building at night. It looks pretty, but more importantly, the lighting is designed so that no direct vertical light leaves the building, so makes it easier to see the stars. A gold-winning feature for sure.